on a state level, I think it's very important that we find candidates and elect them who would be willing to call for a convention of states if need be, because that is the way, that is the tool that the people have to rein in government.
A convention of the states would actually be able to address Obamacare and other things that people feel are out of control.
There's a massive reset coming. You need to have your power back at the states, and you need to break up the cabal in Washington, and this is the way to do it.
Now, this radical idea is going mainstream.
I think it's clearly an effort by the Tea Party right. One of the founders of the Convention on States is one of the leaders of the Tea Party Patriots. We've seen this kind of thing in North Carolina since 2011 when the Republicans took over the General Assembly. The first day of our legislative session in 2013, there was literally a nullification rally on the lawn outside the legislative building where legislators attended, where the state chairman of the Republican Party at the time praised the organizers, and it was all about nullifying laws of the federal government. You know, it reminds me of Dr. King's famous speech, the governor dripping with the words of interposition and nullification.
It is I have a dream speech.
Absolutely.
In the speech, they applaud, but they leave the meaning of those lines out conveniently.
Absolutely. And we are back now to literally talking about nullification. And it's not just state legislators. Senator Rand Paul came to North Carolina and endorsed a candidate in the Republican Senate primary who spoke at a nullification rally and said publicly we don't have to obey decisions of the United States Supreme Court that we disagree with. That's the state of the Republican Party in North Carolina, and I fear the nation that these are radical reactionaries who are taking us back to a time of states' rights. And this Convention on the States is just the latest mechanism in this sort of radicalization of the Republican Party, and the so-called mainstream Republicans here and around the country are unwilling to condemn it, and in fact many times they stand beside them.
A balanced budget amendment, tax limitations, spending limitations, term limits on Congress. Mark Levin has proposed curtailing the power of the Supreme Court by giving the states a method of overriding it. All of those things, the abuse of the executive order power of the president, the abuse of regulatory power, all of that is up for grabs.
You know, we had a bill here last year to establish a state religion. And everybody thought, and it was lampooned as it should have been, as some outrageous idea, but 16 state legislators signed that bill, including the House Majority Leader, the head of our state House Budget Committee. That was in response to, they were worried about the Supreme Court ruling against them in prayer at public meetings, Christian prayer. So we have a reactionary group of folks running North Carolina. We have a reactionary group of people, I believe, in control of the National Republican Party. And you're right, it's dangerous and frightening and threatens to take us back. You know, we kid around in North Carolina, it's not very funny, but they want to repeal the 20th century here, and they're doing it one piece of legislation at a time, and I worry that that's happening in America.
We have a president who doesn't understand or just chooses to disrespect our Constitution.
This is Stalinism. This is sheer brazen lawlessness.
And this is what tyrants are made of. This is what autocrats are made of.
He has all of the earmarks of a Marxist dictator. He does. He doesn't like anybody to challenge him.
We did not elect a dictator. We elected a president.
I'm afraid that President Obama may have this king complex sort of developing.